1098765432 Hello everybody, it's Mike Levin again. We're gonna let you see me. Let's see. Put on my flashlight, and I'll put that over here just to leave me lit up a bit. Check what I look like. Ooh, real mysterious. Okay, so I am streaming once again. Let's see, there is some followers. I'm getting some followers, and there's chat. And I can just say, hello everyone. If you want to chat to me, I mean, I doubt I have anyone actually tuned in. I can see I have 0 view count right now, but it's not even 8 a.m. in the morning, and I'm getting some early morning coding in. I'll have to figure out how to keep the chat room visible for when I actually do more interaction with my users. When last we left off, I was doing the site crawl stuff in order to just do a little housekeeping, to drop everything into a subfolder called Pickles, so that as I did site crawls, these directories where you're doing the crawl don't get messed up with a whole bunch of pickle files. You can see I have a bunch of IPython notebooks in here, and there are a few pickles which are special cases, but the ones that happen with the site crawl actually end up in there. CD pickles. So those are the unvisited and visited links. Since the crawl is over, you'll see the unvisited has dropped to almost nothing. The visited has some, and you can see it's such a smaller number than when I was crawling the New York Times, because now I am crawling my site. So I did a test here. Mike Levin, MikeLev.in. You just put the dot before the last 2 letters of my last name, and it's my personal site. And the crawl went well, and there are all my links. Now, it does bring up an issue that I probably want to chop off everything after a hashtag, because these are all really the same URLs, and I shouldn't keep recrawling them and counting the separate ones. So the purpose of this video really is to return the Offsite links, which, let's see, links. It gets lost when you do it through crawl here, although internally they are being collected. It's just that inside the code here, when I do the link call, these new links, I'm referring to new links 0. So new links 1 actually has all the offsite links that I've discovered. And this is what drops it into sort of the master list as I go for the on-site links to do the crawl. So this is where we will be doing our work. But I probably should make a function first that strips off everything after the hashtag. And we can do a quick little test here by grabbing one of these. This is a slight divergence, but I think it's worth doing, and I'll get both things into this video. I'll just try and keep this one real short. So I'll get rid of these boxes because we really don't need all that path lib stuff. Maybe make that, it's a little distracting. So this is a sample URL. Now to chop off everything after that hash thing, it's really simple function. url.find. First we find whether there is a hash in there, and if it finds it, then you can chop it going from the beginning to where it was found. And now that's the same URL, but with everything from the hash following chopped off. So it goes something like, if a hash is in the URL, then URL equals that. And that you just put in immediately before where you do these, adding on to the lists, and it should be filtered out. So I guess I'll do a before and after. Here is the before. It has a whole bunch of these hash URLs, hashtag URLs in them, which is not really part of the URL. The website is perfectly capable of jumping around on the page without making a request to the web server. These are kind of meta information for in-page navigation that's been used for a whole bunch of other Ajax programming stuff, taking advantage of that fact, but nonetheless should not be counted as separate URLs. So we go into the Pipulate code, and we go into where for new link and links, if new link not visited, but that is precisely where this code goes. And it's no longer about URL, it's about new link. If hashtag in new link, then new link equals new link calling new link. Find hashtag, and that changes its value by the time it reaches here and does the rest of the evaluations. So I'll save that. I'll reload the library. I will recrawl my site. My site is perhaps not the fastest one in the world, but it's one. This will be the before. I'll do the after printout of links just down here after it. And then we can just scroll up and down and compare, this to what we'll print here. Okay, done the crawl. Links. Voila. No URLs that have the hashtags in it. Although, of course, that URL itself will appear once below. And there it is, but without all those comments. Okie doke, that's the first part, and that's worth a commit. I won't do a whole release on that yet, because the next piece that I want to do is really right in this same location, and we don't need that print statement. And you'll see the whole crawl now, including these little features I'm adding, is still only this block of code. It's a pretty small crawl function, although it does include this one as well, gathering the links off of the page. So between that and this, it's the whole site crawl. This is the power of Python. It's just such a wonderful language for this kind of thing. This is why, despite JavaScript being the one language to rule them all, legitimately the most popular language of the day, and highly valuable for your career, and great for user interface design and for web front end work and what they call the full stack, but not so great for just doing everyday, work the way you think. I never deal with a semicolon and a curly bracket if I don't have to. I don't deal with a curly bracket unless it's part of a JSON object or Python's equivalent dictionary. I don't use it for code blocks, so you can imagine how much uglier this code would be if every time you had a code block, you need those curly brackets and all those decisions of where it goes and whether it matches on the same line or on a hanging line. Well, anyway, I'm rambling. All I really want to do here is, before I start doing code, I want to demonstrate some principles here, and I will reuse this thing here. We'll make it a lot easier to look at. Kernel, restart, and clear output. I won't even do the Pipulate import for what I'm about to demonstrate. It is so straightforward. So we have got set A that we will call. By the way, there are different ways of doing sets. Just like with Python, how a list can be a list, you can either use the square brackets, which you see all over, so that your type is in fact a list. It has all the list attributes, like you can just start appending things to your list. And you can see the square bracket notation there. If you just ran that again, there'd be two foo's inside of there. So that's the power of a list. But the point I want to make is that instead of saying a list equals square brackets, you can go a list equals list, and it is still type list, and you can still append foo to it, and it works exactly the same way. So is the case with a set. So you can either say set type A. Let's see, it's a set. Or I believe, curly brackets usually refer to a dictionary, but curly brackets that have nothing in them are their own separate space, such as it were. That is, it made it a dictionary. Very interesting. But if you filled that with anything that had its own syntax, now it knows it's a set. So some things are context specific, but sets are really important. I have a set A, which is containing the values 1, 2, and 3. I'll delete this other stuff, and I'll make B also a set containing 3, 4, and 5, right? So I can print A and I can print B. What happens now if I do A plus B? What's going to be the output? Well, 1, 2, 3 for sure, because that's what A is. B is 3, 4, 5, but remember, sets deduplicate. For set and set. So it's not simply adding them. I have to remember the nomenclature for adding sets together. I tried that. Getting rid of the space. No, it's not that. I remember that the caret, I think, is the exclusionary. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is adding. The caret is adding sets. So 1, 2. Oh, what they don't see, they return everything but the 5. Let's try a vertical pipe. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's adding them together. So sets have some different syntax. It's not quite plus in there, and this is or in regular expressions, so things are in this set or that set. And there you have it. So that's the principle I'm going to be using. I believe you can put the spaces in there as well. That's going to be the principle I'm using to add the discovered links to a constantly growing set of discovered offsite links without going link by link. So, new links 1 contains the off-site links at this point, and I don't want to have to step through every off-site link I discover in order to add it to a persistent housekeeping file like I do on the on-site links, because with on-site links it's a different story because I'm keeping track of each one that I visit. I'm not going to actually be visiting these off-site links necessarily, at least not right away, not in this process. It would make the whole crawl take much too long. But now it all makes sense when I YYP yank paste visited. This is offsite file name. Oops. Unvisited, visited, and offsite. So there will be one more pickle file inside my pickles directory. And I guess that is going to also be part of the resetting. I'll initialize it as an empty set. Persists as an empty set. Offsite file name. So the file gets created, and I want it to be loaded into memory every single time it goes through this loop, just like the way I'm doing these other guys. So offsite equals persists offsite file name. So now offsite is loaded into memory fresh every time, so that I have this offsite thing that I can append to once I'm sitting on top of new links 1. Now that's really interesting. There's a question of whether I want to strip the hashtags off of the external. I'm not going to. Types of external links I'm looking for, if they put a hashtag on, I'm going to include it, and I'm not looking at a link by link basis here anyway. I don't even want to go into this. The gut instinct is to do it in here, but now that I'm sitting on top of new links, I believe I want to do it as soon as I have it, right? So it goes something like the new offsite variable equals the old offsite variable or pointer or reference, what have you, vertical pipe new links 1, because that location holds the external links that were discovered. And as soon as I do that, I want to make it persist. Pipulate dot persist. The object is, of course, going to be the new offsite, so we commit it immediately to the drive. And the file name is going to be offsite file name. And it starts to just have this great self-consistent reinforcement, because you can see persist visited file name. Right? I could do visited object, visited file name, but it starts to get a little too verbose. So now when I return, okay, so that is in a for loop. An offsite, the whole offsite thing is created there inside a for loop. And there is definitely scope issues. So I want to do one more loading of that off of the location once we are out of the loop. So that can be returned. Now, why is visited still in scope? Visited equals first appearance. See, returning visited here. The first visited set is here. So I guess there is, it's okay to do. Don't worry about the scope. At this point, I think it's going to leak through. And the last load here, offsite equals the appending. So without making my code too much larger, I can just return offsite. So just like before, this is valid. You can do return something, comma something, and that is a tuple. But for explicitness, I'll put the parentheses around it so you know I'm going to be returning an object that has the tuple token parentheses around it with 2 internal lists, the visited URLs and the offsite. Okay, so we re-import the Pipulate library. If it imports, you know, I probably have not made any syntax errors. I'll double re-import it just to get rid of the double congratulations. I will populate the links variable. Unsupported type 4 set list, which is absolutely fine. Something is still a list, and there's different ways to handle that. I just want to make sure I'm doing it the way I really like. Append. Okay. It's a set. Error is being reported live. Oh yeah, of course, new links 1. It's being returned as a list in there. You can just convert that to a set right at that location. We import Pipulate and start doing the crawl. RSIST Oh yeah, I can't use Pipulate dot persist when I'm inside of the Pipulate module itself. It's just persist. Yay, yay, yay. And you got all this, right? So I don't think I need to keep that around. That was just for tutorial purposes to let you know how sets can get added together and stuff. I like it working like a countdown. 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Now I'll get rid of that extra. It seems like that extra printing of the message outside the loop no longer necessary. But now we're sitting on top of links, which instead of just opening up with a curly bracket for the set, it's now opening up with a parenthesis showing we are dealing with a tuple containing two sets, which we can tell as we scroll down, get past all the internal links, and find the closing of the curly bracket, the comma, and the starting of the next curly bracket. So there are all the external links. Now it seems that the non-secure, and I might have to deal with that sooner rather than later, the non-secure version of my own site counts as an external link. But for theirs, I need to think about that. But aside from that issue, add a few of these boxes. Now, inside of links, we know that link 0 is on-site, links 1 is off-site. And so if I wanted to step through all the off-site links from all of my site for link in links, print link, and that'll put it in that format that probably is just a little more friendly to see. And I know, because I know my own blog, that this is probably pretty accurate. I recognize a lot of these things, and they are probably pretty spot on. It's also a great way to help you clean up your own site. You can go through going, oh well, that's from my past. I don't think that belongs on here anymore, or I have mixed protocol links. I have absolute links to the non-secure version of the site, so that sort of stuff needs to be filtered out, and those are site architecture issues. Do I fix that right now as a last thing? Boy, it would make that list a lot cleaner. So now that I have this working, let me just bite the bullet and take care of that protocol thing. I should not count links to the same site but with a non-secure protocol as an external link. It'll just give us less things to look at when we're making our evaluations. Wow. Okay. So as we evaluate all the links that we find, we can use this same technique to just sort of do a quick grab and to, swap in the don't want to do it too hacky, so it goes something like this. We'll do it first. If new link from the beginning to 5. We're going to have to look 5 characters in, because I normally look for just HTTP, which is 4 characters, but now it's going to be colon. It's going to go directly into the colon. So if the protocol equals non-secure and something else, if if it's also on the same. So by this time, we're going to use the URL parsing. Goodness. Does it belong here? Yeah, I am going to take that out of there. And I am going to see if it belongs up here, where the links are returned on the page, because we're already sitting on top of the parts. We can at least compare the network schema. So, not like local, yeah, is it another one of those? Okay. So we know what schema we're looking for, because I set that up here. That's good for evaluation. I might do something with links 4. Let me see where links 3 is used. So I only have to worry about that one place to replace it. So if I go links 4, I can once again X for X in links 3, right? So that's an identical copy of links 3, but now we can say contemplate. This is what it's all about, right? This is the live coding stuff. No, I'm gonna pass on this. This is not going to be what I want to bank a win, because I've already created a really nice win here in what I've done by returning those external links. So I think I'm gonna bank this win and worry about those same protocol links in some other video, make it its own topic, because I can tell just by thinking through these issues, there are significant issues to be thought through. I should handle it as its own separate project. So at any rate now, whenever you run a crawl using Pipulate and say links equal Pipulate.crawl and some site, the object that gets returned, one thing I should really make clear here, the type of the object that gets returned is a tuple. The length of that object that gets returned is a tuple that's 84 elements long. Does that make sense? Links. It's got a set here, just got to set down there. I thought it would be a tuple that was only 2 elements long because, oh yeah, it's, yep, 2 elements long. And the first element has a length. These are the on-site links. There were 64 on-site links. And the second element inside that tuple has 117 off-site links. So I could label these things better so that you can know that link 0 is on-site, link 1 is off-site. But at this point, it's more about getting the job done. I got some work to do. These are my tools for doing that work. And so this is why the API is dynamic. This is why when I go into the Pipulate setup.py, drop out, commit, no, returning offsite links from crawl. Hit push. Got that. And when I vim the setup, I'm still at version 0.3.5, in this case now 8. I haven't even done my first official release of Pipulate where I'm going to do this as a version 1, and in my opinion, I'm barely even halfway there, and it's been years I've been using this library. It's because I really don't want to commit to locking things down. I want the flexibility in the API, and people have to expect some changes as we go. So if you start to use this and rely on it, I guess just keep in touch with me. I'll help you fix your code if you, I'll help you a little bit fix your code if you're using my stuff. And I change the API on you. Release. Now in PyPy, or it will soon be in PyPy, with the ability to get the external links at the end of the crawl. And there we go. I have really done a lot to set things up for the next round of development work I need to do, where I'm going to be using these functions pretty intensively. Also, by the way, in proprietary work, so I'm not going to be live streaming stuff with what I'm using all these Pipulate components for. If you want to use them for your own purposes, you are more than welcome to. But there will be times where I sort of just break off from this process that I've pushed so hard on lately, the Twitch streaming and the republishing in YouTube, in order to kind of do my own thing. It's coming up on 8:20. At 9 a.m. the workday starts, and I only stream during the workday, even though I work kind of all the time. But during the workday, if it's a reusable component tool in a generic form, okay, I use it for work, I need it for work, I'll produce it, I'll stream it as I go. But anything that is off the beaten track, taken a little further, providing competitive advantage, boom, it is unplug. But look at that. How nice is that? And of course, it's not going to be what every SEO wants. People are still going to use, those third-party crawl tools to do comprehensive site crawls. You should. I encourage you to do that. This isn't for everyone or everything, but it is for some very common use cases. It satisfies the 80-20 rule. So when you need to do quick things that need data off of sites, you have some ready-made facilities and tools and options to do that. So thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to subscribe.